it will never come back now, but the old-fashioned model that we had in Britain for many years, where the BBC was really quite dominant, was that you could say, well, we're going to put X Factor on, let's say, or Dancing with the Stars, or whatever that thing is, and then after it, we're going to put a documentary on about astronomy. And the idea is that some of that, the people who were watching the talent show will drift into the documentary. But I didn't know I was interested in the moon of Jupiter called Europa that has an ocean surrounding it that may have life on it. I didn't know that. I didn't know I was interested. And that model works. So you're right, though, it's gone probably. So I think the great challenge is how do you expose people to new ideas in our culture? How do you get debates going? How do you stimulate that kind of excitement about knowledge in this new media world? Maybe you know, but
you're sort of an evangelist in that sense. Then you're, I don't mean it in a religious way. I mean you're someone who evangelizes about the ideas of science and of space. Like, you think it's very important to spread these ideas. And that 17-year-old kid who watches video games all day, which easily could have been me, that kid will never break out of that mold. I think that the 17-year-old kid, if he really is completely obsessed and he wants to watch video games all day, the only thing that's going to fix that is he's going to eventually get bored, and he's going to want to try something new. And having the infinite options that are available today, someone could send him a text, dude, 3 words, infinite monkey cage.
Yeah.
Google it. And the guy, he'll be, all right, shit, I'm bored with video games. And then he'll have access to all kinds of shit that, like, if he was just waiting for the BBC to spoon feed him, he's never going to do.
Yeah.
Like, also, I think that having the stupid shows that we have here in America, like, if you watch reality shows, one of the things that you'll notice is the anger that people have about these shows. The anger that they're being force-fed this fucking stupid shit. But they're still watching it! That anger sometimes... That rejection of it, almost in your soul, forces people to go explore other ideas, or it inspires people to go explore other ideas.
It's an interesting model, isn't it? Frustrate them to the point
Yes.
of just absolutely. So you get so angry about that anodyne, soul-crushing. What's the word? Dullness of culture that you go seek out knowledge. Maybe that is a model.
I think there's something to it, man, because one time I was in my hotel room and I was watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And, you know, look, it was in between shows, like, you know, just flipping through the channels, and it was on. And it was like, I'm shopping and I can't find what I want to get. This is so frustrating. And my sister won't stop bothering me. And they're like texting each other, and it's so fucking mind-numbing. And somehow or another, I'm sucked into it. Like it's a tornado and it's carrying me away up into the sky. And then I change the next channel and it's some biology thing on crocodiles. And it's instantly fascinating. And it's these people that live on the Nile, and this scientist who's down there, and he's studying these crocodiles, and, you know, there's the villagers who are worried about these things eating them. And then I'm thinking, wow, this is so fucking fascinating. These people are living next to dinosaurs. I mean, they have a real issue with dinosaurs eating their family. Like, or you could watch these just simple apes talk about shiny things, and they'll talk about shiny things for a whole, and millions of fucking people do. But the anger of can't take this anymore, and then you switch the channel or go online. I really think that there's a yin and a yang to the world.
This is the strongest case for the Kardashians I've ever heard. That it compresses your very soul and existence just into such a small space that you burst out into a world of ideas. So that's yeah.
Well, it's analogous to California, because in California we have too much sun. We have so much sun that it doesn't rain. We need 11 trillion gallons of water just to make up for the water that didn't rain in the last 3 years. It's a fucking disaster. But if you lived in a place like Alaska in the winter where there's no fucking sun at all, and just looking for little peaks in the clouds, or those days in Portland where it's just 39 days in a row, there's no fucking sun, you just get crazy, you can't take it anymore. And then one day that sun is there and you're like, ah, it's so beautiful, it's amazing. Whereas in LA, we're like, fucking sun, we're so tired of the sun, people get used to shit.
I'm going to call it the Rogan model, which is just depress everyone to the point of the Rogan model for broadcasting.
Yeah,
which
bore
is
the
just
fuck out of them.
And they'll surely at some point.
And then
just
put the
go,
Cosmos on.
There must be more to life.
Yes. And then when it comes on,
mechanics textbook.
and then they get it. Well, not everyone. There's going to be some people that are always going to be, they're going to always gravitate towards nonsense. There's nothing you can do about that. It's just, we're so varied. We're so, the spectrum of human beings, from the smartest to the dumbest, is so wide. There's no getting around that. Life experiences, genetics, whatever causes it, I don't know. But there's just certain people that do not give a fuck. And they're going to always be there. But concentrating on them, you know, and like, it's profitable. Like, you could sell them shit. It's a really good model if you're in the business.
It is. I still, you said earlier that I'm perhaps optimistic, but I think we can sell them. It sounds almost them, this group.
Some
of
of them,
sell,
yeah.
You could sell. I still think you can sell ideas to people. I'm gonna be optimistic about it.
Those people maybe not, but there's a lot of fucking people. There's 350 million people in this country alone.
We underestimate people. I think I've rarely met someone who wasn't interested.
Oh, let me take you around.
Are you gonna?
Let me take you around. Let me bring
you
around some dummies. Listen, dude, there's some fucking dummies out there. A lot of smart folks like yourself. You're hanging out at CERN, a bunch of other physicists. You're talking about black holes and shit.
Selection effect. You're right. You might say. I've never been into the cafeteria at CERN and met anyone who's not interested.
Trust me, man. I hosted Fear Factor for 6 years, and I'm a cage fighting commentator. There's dummies out there. There's unfixable dummies, and it's probably not their fault, but it's probably one of the greatest pieces of evidence that points towards natural selection and points towards the variability of life. In that human beings, we vary so strongly that in comparison to other like wild animals. If you see wolves, I mean, you see wolves that are slightly larger and slightly more dominant, and wolves that are slightly smaller and slightly more timid, and they get pushed out of the pack. But they're all fucking wolves. You see people, and you see Brian Cox, and then you see Kim Kardashian. I mean, you guys are both on the same timeline. You're both alive in this point in history, and one of you is talking about fucking shoes, and the other one is trying to figure out what happened right after the Big Bang. And one of them has a fuckload more people paying attention, Brian Cox, and it ain't you, buddy.
Well,
it's that chick. The chick with the fake ass is the one who's getting all the eyeballs.
Going back to Carl Sagan's great book, The Demon Haunted World.
Great book. I love that book.
I mean, he makes the point that the thing is, these people, everyone has a vote, and rightly so. We live in a democracy right now. You might say, well, could we have some kind of IQ test threshold for the vote? But therefore, the direction of our societies is, in principle, in the hands of everyone. So we can't just accept the fact that, you know, well, all right, well, 1% of the world's population is going to pay attention to reality, and the rest of them are going to pay attention to reality TV, and we're going to be okay. We're not going to be okay because the 99% will be unaware what they're voting for. That they have control, and rightly so. We live in it over the direction of our countries. So education is extremely important. It is important for people for us to try and make available the great swathe of knowledge that we've accumulated over the last.
We were absolutely in agreement about that. I just think that the open nature of the internet enhances that more than stifles it. I think there's only good. I only see good. I think I'm a big fan of old shit. I love to go watch old television shows and old movies and especially old stand-up comedy performances. Because there's not just because it's sort of like a time machine. You're looking back at this moment that's been captured, which is absolutely fascinating to me. But also the stark differences, the obvious differences between culture then and culture now, between the awareness of the people that, like, there's some movies that were really good movies, but if you try to watch them today, you go, oh, who's that fucking dumb today? Like, no one is that dumb today. It's hard. Like, the education level of the people that are communicating in these movies, the way they view life is very obviously different than the way we view life today. Like, you could not put Father Knows Best on television today. Because people wouldn't fucking, they're not like, not enough. Nope, it's gotta go to a higher frequency.